Well, well, well. Welcome, my friends. This is my very first live stream. This is like really super fun for me. I've always wanted to get into a live stream. I've just been waiting for like the right time to do it in the right moment. And this is it. We are going to talk about some huge new updates inside of the Pi ecosystem, specifically this right here. The fact that if you have been maybe living under a rock or you're not aware, the new Pi Testnet is out with wallets, which is really, really cool. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to actually show you a little bit of the blockchain underneath the hood, which is super cool. And then we're also going to talk about the implications of it and answer some questions. So we're going to talk about all that. I also did talk with Nick today about this release. I congratulated him, and he had a few points of feedback that he wanted me to share with you guys. So I've got them up here on my phone, and I'm going to be able to share some of that with you as well. So hey, some checkouts, man. You guys are all checking in here. Hey guys, man, I can't even pronounce all these names, but it looks like we've got Hadrug here, Dottie, Acro, Zobra, Sandro, man, Richard, Kirk, tons and tons of you fine folks. So welcome. If we haven't met before, my name is Wes Spencer, and we're live streaming. This is the very first time I've done a YouTube live stream. I do a ton of this on LinkedIn and other channels through the companies that I run. If we've never met before, I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm somebody that likes to do this when I have the time and the ability, because I'm super passionate about startups and cybersecurity and also crypto. Been in the crypto scene for a really, really long time. So you know what we're going to do today? We are going to, if I can get all of this working, we're going to share out a couple of things. I'm going to show my screen and really get into a couple of things that are pretty exciting in the world of Pi. So let's just start here. Any of you guys in live chat that I'm looking at right now, anyone been playing with the testnet with the wallets that have been released? I want to see if anyone here has got those coming out. Hey, all you fine folks. I see all of you guys in. Explorer 247 from Nigeria. That's pretty awesome. So if you haven't seen, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple things. Let's talk first of all about the testnet. So if you don't understand what a testnet is all about, this is just a place for us to test and try things. This is a way for the Pi core team to build and test scale, to say, hey, is this whole thing going to work? Are there problems in the code? Are there features we've been testing to kind of get this to work? So I run some software companies at the companies I've been at, and we do the same thing. We have a dev and we have prod. We have like development networks and platforms. We have production. We test things in dev first. We see how it works. Some things are very simple to deploy and then just get right into production and off we go. Some things take a lot of work. And when you think about Pi itself, we've been talking for the longest time, people want to know, is Pi like real? Are the people behind it even legit? Is this thing even a blockchain? If you watch like the very early videos I did in crypto, you will see I was not really much of a believer on it. Well, today I'm going to show you there is a blockchain. It's in testnet. So we're still testing. It's not worth anything, but it is functioning and it is working. And I'm gonna show you how all of it works today in the stream. So that's gonna be super cool. I'm just looking at some chat messages here. I don't know why, Better World, why your message was deleted. There's probably some filtering controls that they have on here. So you know how that goes. What else in here that I want to read and say? So hey to you, you folks. Yeah, so couple things that I'm seeing in here. You don't have a wallet yet. Don't panic. Don't worry. It's just testnet. So where you're going to get a wallet, if you're running a node, I talked to Nick about this today on the core team, you will get a wallet in testnet if you're running a node. If you're not running a node, you're not going to, it's not going to show up for you in app right now, either in the phone app or in the actual app in the node. No big deal, right? This is just testing. Nothing is happening at this point that's going to cause you to need it, anything like that. Don't worry. So no big deal there. Let's see, anything else in here that I wanted to answer? No. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is, to me, the big thing that was going to say if Pi is going to like be legit and be real is, when do I get to see the blockchain? Like, I'm a technologist at heart. So when I jump into cryptos that I get interested in, one of the things I want to know is, show me the blockchain. I want to see it operating. I want to see it running. I want to see what's behind it and how it works. And so we've known from the very beginning that it was really just going to be, more than anything, it's going to be based on Stellar, right? It's going to be based on the Stellar protocol, which is a consensus-based algorithm, but we hadn't seen the blockchain, hadn't seen anything about it. Well, that's changed as of today. It's really cool to see all of that. So we're going to be chatting about that. So I guess maybe the first thing, let's talk. I mentioned a little bit about what a testnet wallet means. This is just a way for us to play and to try to test. So if you've been granted a test wallet in testnet, you're going to be granted 100 pi. And Nick, right now, I saw him in the messages we were chatting back and forth. He calls him test pi, like TEST-pi. Test pi is what he's calling them. You're going to be granted 100 of those. And you can share those, you can send them, you can receive them. And there's a bunch of activity going on right now where all of that is currently happening. One thing Nick wanted me to mention to all of you fine folks on here is if you're doing that, you need to maintain, and listen to me on this one because it's really important for those of you that have access to a testnet wallet. You need to maintain 20 pi or more. If you trade out and transfer out too much, it is a bug, it's a problem. They're aware of it, they're going to fix it. But currently, you need to have at least 20 pi in your wallet at any point in time. And again, remember, this is just test pi. It's not your real pi. It's not what you're actually earning. It's just a way to use the testnet to see what it would be like once this goes over to mainnet. It goes into full release. So let's see if there's any other questions coming in here. Hey, Max over here is actually showing his public key. That's super cool. So if anyone's watching here, Max, you know what I'm going to do in a minute? I'm going to hit copy on your public key, and I'm going to bring out that. That's basically his public key. It's his wallet key. It's what he can share with others to receive. So if anyone's watching this and also wants to share with Max, you'll be able to do that. You see that over in live chat. So let's see here. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to show you how this works. First thing, we're going to see if I can actually get where the share button is. Looking around here, it should be easier than this. Give me a minute. I was told by my YouTube friends that there was a share screen option. There may not be. That is too bad. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this into chat so you guys can see this. So first thing, if you want to see the actual blockchain, here it is right here. I'm going to pop this right into chat. There you go. So it's pi-blockchain.net. And here's what's really, really cool about this. I'm going to talk about this whilst I try to hunt around on the screen that I have in front of me is different than what you guys have. So I'm trying to see if there is a way for me to share my screen out here. Okay, so the way that this works, so if you look just on the front of that, you can see there are a whole bunch of transactions that are happening. You see all those that are on there? Like if you hit the refresh button on your browser, you're probably going to see new ones coming in. Like, look, I'm seeing one like literally 6 seconds ago, 11 seconds ago, 31 seconds ago. So these are all actual Pi testnet transactions. If you're joining us today, by the way, hey, welcome. We are covering all of the Pi world, the new news that has come out, which is wallets are here. Wallets have been released, which is super cool, but we're in testnet. So it's just the wallets themselves are not doing anything functional other than they're doing functional things. It's not mainnet, right? It's not actually, you're not using your real Pi for things. So you can click on any one of those if you want to. So in chat, I put, it's a little bit further up, but it's the actual website where you can go to see the blockchain in action. And again, I was hoping to be able to share my screen, but it seems like that is not going to be possible here. I don't know why. I wish that it would let me, but it apparently is not. So sorry about that. So let's go ahead and open one. I'm just going to literally click on any of those. Like you can kind of do this with me. So as I open one of these, you're going to see a bunch of things that happen inside of the actual blockchain. You can see the fees that have gone across. You can see the ledger that it's associated with. So with a consensus-based algorithm that's kind of like Stellar, you're going to have a whole bunch of ledgers that are in place. Lots and lots and lots and lots of ledgers because it's using consensus across those ledgers. And you can actually dive in and see those transactions. So for example, Max earlier here in chat, he posted in his public key. I could click on that public key, which is really, really cool. And then I would have the ability to see the amount, what balance is in his wallet. I could see if he's sent any Pi. I could see if he's received any Pi. Now, why is all that important? That is a blockchain in action. That's the whole idea of a blockchain is it's a ledger. It's a distributed ledger that anybody can see what's in it, what's been sent to it, what's been sent from it. Let me give you an example why that's nice. Let's say there's a marketplace where we want to buy and sell things, and I need to be able to make sure before I actually ship you some item or give you some service that you've paid me. So the platform itself could be nothing but an API looking for that transaction on the blockchain to say, I'm looking to see it's been sent to this person, it's been received. And once it has, I give you the green light and you get the product or service, right? That's exactly how it's supposed to work. And for those of you that have seen like all the news that's been a buzz lately about like the Pi lifestyle app and all that stuff that's out there, like, look, if that's your thing, like that's super cool. That's fine. It's a fake economy, right? It's been built up. They've preset Pi at like $100 a Pi because they want it to be. There's like, you have to have like moderators or people that already have in-app transactions to be able to move it for you. It's awkward, right? I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it's not a real marketplace. It sort of stood up to show proof of concept of what that stuff is really all about. So this is cool though, because this is where we get to real marketplaces, whether they're through Pi or through anything else. So we can do API checks. We can actually see the transactions happen in place, which is really cool. So if you want to see one of these, again, I wish I could share my screen out, but I can't. So you just follow along with me. I just popped into chat a link of what I am looking at. This is an actual transaction. So you can see here a couple things. You can see the transaction ID that's there. You can see the ledger that it was associated with. You can see the amount that was sent. By the way, this one is a fun one. It's 3.14 Pi. It was sent over to a particular user, this GDRN. Those first four letters that you see, those are like every Pi wallet right now that's out, at least now, starts with a G. So that's kind of interesting to see that in place as well, which is super cool. So anyway, check that out. Play around with the Pi Testnet Explorer. It's good that we do have an Explorer in place and you can see it, you can play with it, you can open transactions, you can see them. To get back to some of the questions that were being asked, I see a few that are in here. One from Kevin Reyes. So is Pi going to be proof of stake? No, it is not. It is not proof of stake, like what Ethereum is moving towards, what Neo is, a bunch of those. So Pi is consensus based. This is much different. A consensus based algorithm, if you want to get like a lighthouse of like what that looks like, look at Stellar. So Pi is going to be like Stellar in the sense that it uses a consensus algorithm of trust circles to be able to move in the blockchain for transactions to happen. It's not proof of work like Bitcoin. It's not proof of stake like some of the new ones that are coming out and like what Ethereum is moving towards. It is totally different in that regard. And correct, I see a couple things here in chat as well. It has no utility. Right, that's exactly right. So I personally, I'm in this, I've said this in my videos before, I'm in this to see what happens. Like if Pi does great, awesome. If Pi falls apart, no big deal. It's been a fun experiment. It's been fun to try. That's why you don't see me often like shilling my code. It's why you don't see me like pumping. I am not a crypto pumper. There's been a bunch of people on, on YouTube videos that are like saying like one Pi, $100 because Pi Lifestyle says so. And I don't do any of that stuff. No hate to those that do it. That's just not my style. I am in this because it's really interesting. Here's what interests me about Pi more than maybe anything else that I can think of that's out there as far as cryptos go. Pi built by starting a community of, well, now millions and millions of users, which is awesome versus starting with the technology. You look at Bitcoin and almost every other crypto that's out there, it starts with the technology first. What's the problem I'm trying to solve? How does it work? And then they try to find a market. Pi has done this in reverse. They've built the market first, and then they're building the technology to catch up. Is that right? Is that wrong? Well, who's to say? I mean, we're going to end up finding out if the Pi core team can deliver, and we can find out if they can actually create all the things that they're wanting to create. It's ambitious. So I think it's a fun journey. I think it's fun to explore to see what happens. I hope it works for them. If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, no big deal. We'll learn from it and do additional things. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm just looking through here to see if there's anything else that I want to say that you guys are saying in chat here. Yeah, and that gets into, I see some of you in here asking like, is it worth a penny? What is it worth? Look, nobody knows. Like, fact is, not even the core team knows what Pi is going to be worth. The market will dictate what it's worth. When wallets are fully out, when we go from testnet to mainnet, and we actually have the ability for it to turn into a utility with like hopefully a robust ecosystem in which we can buy and sell and trade. And then ultimately when crypto exchanges start adopting and utilizing Pi, then we'll know what it's worth. Do I think it's going to be $100 like what the Pi lifestyle is saying? Heck no. Not right away. Definitely not. But this is why I don't get into like price speculation, because from my perspective, I just don't think we should be doing that right now. Nobody knows what it is, and all we're going to do is just be a pumper, and we don't need to be crypto pumpers. There's too many of those that are out there already. Okay, so a couple other things I wanted to say as well here is I want to pull up a couple things that I know. So I do talk to the core team a fair amount, at least a few times a month. I am pretty well connected with them. I'm not on the core team. Let me just say that. But a couple things that happen. So Nick did tell me, he says you can download the node and have access to it. So if you want to get access to a testnet wallet, you will need to download the node. You'll need to get it up and running. Your Pi app on your phone will show you how to do all that. Unfortunately, it is a little technical. You're gonna have to set up some things like Docker. You have to do some port forwarding. So it's not for everybody. If you tried it and it doesn't work for you, no big deal. It's okay. Don't fret. Don't panic, right? We're just in a testnet phase. You just want to play with it. Go for it. And I will make a video about this now that I realize my YouTube Live, that what I'm using now, I can't share my screen, which again, really, really sucks. I'm looking all over here to see, is there not a way to share my screen? But there is not, my friends, not on their standard platform, which kind of stinks. So anyway, because I can't share my screen, I can't show you what I'm seeing. But Nick did want to mention that if you want access, you will need to have the node installed. He says, however, it's important to know this is a public launch because we want to improve the wallet based on the learnings from this net release or from this test release from the nodes. That's what Nick sent me. He's just wanting you to know we're just testing. So the more that do test, and the more that try, and the more that transfer and play and hopefully find bugs and report those, it'll just get everybody to understand the scale and how all this works. So definitely get involved with that if you want. And then also keep in mind, this launched last night, Nick told me, which I knew that. And he said, hey, when this launched last night, he said, we may pull this back out to make more improvements. So it's not guaranteed to live for really long. In other words, what Nick is saying is he's saying, I may jump out of this. I'm trying it right now. We may turn it off if we've got to make some changes, that require us to either restart things or just go back to scratch or reload like an old config or whatever. Again, we're in testnet. That's the whole idea of testnet, is there's no guaranteed service times for it. So it may come online, it may go offline. If it goes offline, don't panic. Don't think like, hey, what's going on here, guys? Like, why did this thing go offline? Is this whole thing like fake and fake overnight? No, they just will take it off when they take it off. So I wanted to share all this. Again, I'm going to pop this back into chat. For those of you that are new joining us, welcome. I am going to send this over. Here you go. There is the blockchain right there. I was hoping to show this on screen for you and actually show you how this works, but my YouTube Live is not letting me share my screen. I'm just using the standard one. This is the first time I've done a YouTube Live. So unfortunately, it's not letting me do that. But you can check out the blockchain. You can play around with it. You can click into some transactions. You can see how all of it works. You can see the source and the destination addresses of where it's going. You can actually look at the transaction amounts. I think that's really, really awesome. The other thing I'll show you is I'm going to shout out to my friends on Reddit. Here in Reddit /r Pi network, there is a link for that there that I popped in there. That is, if you want to see some people that are actually showing it, you can see some of their posts. I would sort by new instead of hot. If you sort by new, then you're going to see all the posts coming in from everybody that's going to talk about some of the cool things that are there, like them showing their wallets and actually showing it in the nodes. So you can kind of see what the whole thing looks like. Let's see, a few other questions. So Rodney is saying 1 billion Pi were given to one account the other day. So Rodney, I'm not sure what you're referencing there, but what it may be is the way that Stellar works and the way that Pi is going to work. Nick had mentioned yesterday that they had just finished up the faucet. When he talks about the faucet, this is sort of like, think of this as the initial seeding account. So this is not, Pi is not proof of work. It's not proof of stake. It's not proof of work like Bitcoin, like there's going to be 21 million and we got to generate to it. This is already kind of like pre-generated. And so the faucet is like the initial creation of all the pre-generated Pi, and then it's distributed out to all of the users. Now in Testnet, that's all it's doing. But the faucet is the original kind of creator that holds all the initial Pi, and then it gets distributed out to those accounts that it belongs to. So like in your app, when you're mining, you're not really mining, you're claiming access to that Pi is what you're doing. So I hope that makes sense. That's where it comes from. Let's see what else in here that you fine, awesome folks are chatting about. So I see just me. I see you there. Will Pi pass the SEC check? Okay, so I'm an old banker here. I can actually answer this question too. So it depends, right? If Pi does some kind of ICO, which they're not, then SEC does regulate this. the reason they regulate it, and if you look at what happened with like Ripple or XRP, the reason the SEC came down on them was because they did an ICO in the past, and the SEC in the US has very tight regulations around that. They do not allow ICOs in the US, in the States, can't participate in. That's where the problems came from. So Pi shouldn't run into that because they're not doing any kind of ICOs. It's not that the US is not friendly to cryptos, they're just not friendly to ICOs. And a ton of reasons for all of that, right? It's a highly regulated thing here in the US, so shouldn't really be a problem for us. Okay, what else is in here? This is fun answering your guys' questions. You guys ask really, really good questions here. Okay, so another person's asking, how is mining not required in some coins? So take a proof of stake, for example. Proof of stake is a little bit different. Rather than proof of work, where I'm doing mathematical computations to both move the blockchain along and claim access to newly minted coins as the reward for mining, proof of stake is all about me taking crypto that I have, and that crypto has to be created from somewhere, which is what an ICO is typically all about, and I stake that into the blockchain. In other words, it's saying I am putting some skin in the game, which is what saying that we Americans have, just to say I have some what I'm doing matters to me. I'm taking an amount of Ethereum or whatever my proof of stake coin is, and I'm staking that into the blockchain, and then it can be used to run code. It can be used to certify things. And if I get caught doing something nefarious, I can lose my stake. That's sort of how proof of stake works at a very, very high level. And what's good about that is it avoids us from having to use super expensive mathematical computations that eat up a whole lot of electricity and make the whole world a whole lot warmer, right? Like I know Bitcoin's like like power consumption for mining now like rivals very large countries now, and that's a problem. That's what proof of stake is trying to solve for. Okay. See if there's anything else here that I want to chat about. Hey, Spaghetti Souls, how are you? They are asking, do I think phase 3 will be delayed for Pi Network? Well, I think it depends on what you mean by delayed. So here, let me, this is probably a really good point for me to talk about. So for those of you that are joining, hey, my name's Wes Spencer. I have been covering this Pi journey for quite a while. I am not on the core team. I do know the core team. I am very interested to see what happens out of all of this. We'll see if this whole thing works. We'll see if this whole thing fails. Good question that just came in is, what about phase 3 will be delayed? So it depends on what you mean by delayed, right? So I can tell you this, having run software companies, so I just built and sold a company called Perch Security. If you look at, I'm not allowed to tell you what I sold it for, but if you look online, you'll find online sources that say it was sold for about $80 million. I was one of the co-founders at Perch. I can tell you this, sometimes behind the scenes, we're working like crazy, building software. And the truth is, for a customer, it may feel like nothing's happening. You know what I mean? And that's really been part of Pi's problem. If I've been critical of the core team over anything, it's just been traditionally, they've really struggled with just being out in front of the community, talking about what they're doing, what's being built, where they're at, helping, dissolve some of the challenges and arguments of this whole thing a fraud, is it a scam? Well, they just haven't been leading from the front. They're doing a lot more of that now, but they haven't done it in the past. And what can happen when you're not leading from the front is people think, well, they're not doing anything. This whole thing's failed. But they're not. Like today is evidence of that. The wallet's being out, Testnet. You can actually see, I shared, I'm going to share it again just because I've got new folks that are just joining. Here is the actual blockchain itself. There is now a blockchain. It's in Testnet, but you can see all of this happening. Let me paste this into chat. There you go. So it's all happening, right? It's just slow. So do I think phase 3 will be delayed? Well, maybe. I think to get to phase 3 by the end of this year is really pushing it. I would be again, I have no authority on this, right? But do I think it'll come out by the end of this year? Probably not, is my thought. But I don't think it'll be long after. Like, I don't think we're years and years away. If you've followed like Cardano's history, it's taken them many, many, many years to get where they're at today. It takes time. This stuff is hard. It's difficult. A lot of code to build, a lot of new things to do. So we just got to be patient with them on all of that. Okay, what else do we want to say here? Man, so much to look at here. I'm trying to focus in on a few things that I want to say. So any news on KYC is a question that just got asked. That's a good question. So I don't really have any direct news yet. A couple things I will say about KYC. I like the direction where the apps are going. The passport checking is good. It won't work for every country and every person, not even everyone that's on this stream. That's no big deal. There's going to be other ways to do it as well. So I don't think Yoti itself is going to be like the permanent solution. It may be an optional solution. Eventually, you as a user, if you're going to use Yoti, you're going to have to pay for it. I mean, it costs about $1 a check is what Yoti he charges. It's not cheap when you consider there's millions of Pi users, of pioneers around. So I think there's going to be multiple use cases for KYC. I am a big fan of the passport checking mechanisms just because of how passports work, but I know that doesn't work for everybody on this chat and every pioneer that's out there. So there'll be multiple ones that'll be out there. We just got to wait and see what else comes out of it. Let's see here. Here's some questions about scarcity, right? After the mining phase gets finished, will the legit coins be used, or the core team release them over time to keep scarcity? So scarcity is an issue with Pi, right? I mean, there's been plenty of like YouTube videos of people like guessing how many like Pi there are that are out there. I think I saw one recently by like somebody that claims to be an accountant, and they're showing, look, no one knows exactly, but you can run some rough numbers to get the idea. And I think most people agree we're in the billions of Pi. Don't let that shock you. I asked Nick about this like several months ago, and I asked him like, what do you think about all of like the extra Pi that's everywhere, especially like the fraudulent Pi? And he said, don't worry about that. We have a plan to burn those. We know the fraudulent Pi that are out there. We'll take care of that. So scarcity, I wouldn't worry about that as much as I would worry about building a robust ecosystem to where the whole thing has value, right? That's the thing that's most important. And then that will drive the scarcity from there, right? Like if Bitcoin is scarce, sure. But if it didn't have use, that people thought, you know, it's not a useful store of value, then it wouldn't be worth $48,000 like it is today per Bitcoin, right? So same kind of thing. Let's focus on value, and the scarcity stuff will take care of itself, I think. Here's another question. I answered this earlier in chat, but I'll just answer it again. What's my view on TPL, the Pi lifestyle? So I'm not a fan of it, just to say it. I'm not hating on it. If you use it and it's working for you, super cool. But it's like a made up economy, right? They preset one Pi equals $100. You have to pay to actually join into the whole platform, which I guess, sure, they got to support it or whatever, but they're making probably a ton of money on all of that. And it's weird, right? Like because you and I, the normal person can't transfer Pi. When you buy or sell something, you have to use Discord and you have to publish to somebody that, you've made this transaction, you both agree. And then that third party you have to trust them to make the actual Pi transfer for you. And then the goods are shipped, or sometimes they'll give you a gift card or whatever you buy, it's the whole thing is just a mess. But what it is cool, let me speak good of it for a minute. Like the good of it is it's a great way to just test some things and play with some things and find some neat ways, even though they're niche and they're small, to just build some kind of community around it. That's super cool. But listen, it is not for me at all. Definitely not a fan of using it, and wouldn't really want to get involved in it. And I do think there's probably too many pumpers on YouTube that are pumping it. You look at some of those Pi lifestyle reviews, people like, here's my Amazon box. And, they got 100,000, 200,000 views for it. The problem with the YouTube algorithm, it tends to want to push people into making like pumper videos because everyone wants to see them and they blow up. Again, that's your thing. You be you. It's cool by me. No hate here. But I do think it's not for me. I'd rather just be honest and tell you what I really think. Okay. And maybe I made some people mad in chat, but you guys asked me what I thought about Pi lifestyle, and I'm not the world's biggest fan of it. Let's see. Anything else I want to say? Do I participate in the Brainstorm app? I do not, Max. I see your question up there. The reason I do not have time for it. I am running multiple companies right now. So I like to jump into these things when I have little breaks in meetings. I literally got off another live stream for my company earlier and then jumped into this one. So no, I do not do any Brainstorm app kind of decision-making or anything like that. I would like to. I just ain't got no time for it, unfortunately. Let's see here. Anything else? We're about to end this live stream here in a minute. This has been super fun though. And hey, if you just found me, definitely hit the subscribe button. I've got a ton of videos all about Pi and other cryptos and cybersecurity stuff that I'm interested in, startups and being your own entrepreneur and how to create your own company and build your own wealth instead of relying on the man. If those things resonate with you, my channel is the place for you, my friend. So definitely hit subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. Let's see. I'm just looking. Any other comments? Hey, Rodney, thank you. He says he appreciates my style. At least you and I do, right? Oh, hey, I got something for you. This is kind of cool. I don't know. This is a newspaper. I'm not really a newspaper reader. I'm a news reader, but I was interviewed in the Wall Street Journal this week. I'll see if I can find you the link and I'll put it in chat. But a friend actually sent me the real newspaper, which I thought was super cool. I don't have a newspaper. It's been years since I've seen a real newspaper, but this one right here, cyber attacks add pressure on hospitals during pandemic. That is an article I was quoted in, which is super cool. Let me see if I can get a link for you guys in that, because I am a little proud. I've done multiple interviews. Let's see, Wall Street Journal. Not in my browser history. What a shock, right? Let's see if I can find it in my LinkedIn. By the way, I am pretty active in LinkedIn as well. So if you guys are curious and want to follow me on LinkedIn, I'm much more business focused on LinkedIn versus like the things that I just like to do on YouTube. But I would love for you to follow me on LinkedIn as well. You can just find me pretty easily just by searching for Wes Spencer. Okay, here is the link. So I'm going to share this for you. Unfortunately, Wall Street Journal gates these things. There are ways to get past that, but you can just do it on your own. There we go. So if you want to check out my Wall Street Journal interview that I had this week on some cyber threats in the healthcare industry, there you go. All right, guys. Oh, one last question I do want to answer. I just saw come in. I get asked all the time. First of all, Just Me, what about Dogecoin? Diamond hands with Dogecoin, my friend. I do buy a little bit of it, but I don't take it seriously. I don't think anyone serious other than Elon takes it seriously. And I'm convinced Elon just likes to troll with it. But I do get asked about the differences between Pi, B, and time stop. So I actually don't mind. Here's a little fact you probably don't know about me. I do not mind B, and I do not mind time stop, but for two different reasons. Trying to think if I should share those reasons here. So I don't trust B. I don't mind B because I don't trust it. If you mine it and you trust it, cool by me. Maybe you have a phone that you can mine with on yourself, no other personal information on. That's cool. I mean, you be you, right? But for me, don't trust it. There's a number of things in it that scare me. I don't trust it. And then time stop. I'm a little dubious on time stop. The thing about time stop is, at least like a few weeks ago, last time I looked, there's no iOS app, and I'm an Apple user, at least for my phones. So there you have it. I don't mind time stop for that main reason. So there you have it. That's why I don't mind both of those. I'm in it for Pi. I think Pi is probably going to be the winner here. But you know what? I think the competition's good. I hope B succeeds, and I hope time stop succeeds, and I hope they push Pi into doing some unique and different things, because truly, I call all these mobile mining cryptos, or MMCs is a term I've coined. I hope as many of them work as possible. It's the same thing with Bitcoin and others. We need lots of cryptos that are out there to test and do new things and make us all better. So the competition's good. So I just want to say that. Okay, so Better World, technical reason for B. There's things I can say and things I can't say. So with B, it is, it's not just that it's not like based in the US. I don't care where it's really based out of. It's the lack of transparency. I'll just say it that way. As a cybersecurity guy, transparency is a big deal to me. And there's levels of transparency for sure, right? Like even Pi is not as transparent because there's no open, like I can't get in GitHub and see the repos and things like that, right? But transparency is the issue for me. So there you have it. All right, guys. So I think we're going to close it up here. This has been super fun. I am sorry I couldn't share my screen with you, but we were sharing. I'm going to put it in to the chat one last time. This is the blockchain itself. If you're new and you're joining us, we were sharing all about Pi, that Testnet is now out. And on top of that, the wallets are out for those of you that are node users, which is really, really cool. And would love to see what the future of all this is going to be. So guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for the questions. Until next time, my friends, I will see you later.